Let me ask you something. If I gave you a spaceship that can go infinitely fast, welded the throttle wide open, and you just kept flying all the way to the very edge of the universe, what would you hit? A wall? An endless void? Or would you pop out the other side? The answer is scarier than all three. Thomas Horton, a student of Stephen Hawking, once said it perfectly: you will never reach the edge of the universe. Not because the journey is too long, but because the very idea of an edge doesn't even exist in the universe. Asking where the edge of the universe is like asking what color your home Wi-Fi password is. It's absurd. You're asking the wrong question entirely. But if space has no edge, what about time? Close your eyes for 3 seconds, and think, the exact moment of the Big Bang. What was there, before it blew? Did you just picture a pitch-black, empty expanse of space? Congratulations, you just made the exact same mistake 99% of people do. Carroll, a physicist at Caltech, shut this question down for good with one bone-chilling line: there is no before the Big Bang. It's like asking what's south of the South Pole. It doesn't exist. After watching this video, a switch in your brain is going to flip permanently: the assumption that you live in a world with a clear inside and outside. What's really outside the universe? You probably picture the Big Bang as a single point exploding out into a big, empty void waiting for it to expand into, right? But that's not how it works. The Big Bang wasn't a bomb going off in an empty room. There was no around it, no empty space, not even a void. Space itself was born along with the Big Bang. It wasn't that there was a stage first, and then the explosion happened. The explosion itself was the stage being built. Forget that mental image you have of an explosion with a center point. That's how fireworks work, not how the universe works. When you were a kid looking at a world map, did you ever point to the edge of the paper and ask a grown-up, what's beyond this edge? You did, didn't you? What did they say? Odds are, it was something like, stop asking silly questions and finish your homework. In plain terms, you were digging so deep for answers, you hit the bottom of the hole and kept going. When you asked what was outside the map as a kid, a grown-up could tell you, the map is just a flat picture. The real Earth is a sphere. It has no edges. But today, when you ask what's outside the universe, the smartest people in the field of quantum gravity will give you the exact same answer you got as a kid when you were brushed off. The question itself is probably wrong. If you've ever had a grown-up get annoyed with you for asking questions like this, drop a comment below. So today, what we're really talking about is this: why those 5 words, outside the universe, are most likely an illusion created by human language. You're not asking a question that's really hard to answer. You're asking a question that might not even exist. When it comes to the edge of the universe and what's beyond it, there are 3 deeply ingrained misconceptions most people have. And it's not your fault, it's the fault of every single space documentary you've ever watched since you were a kid, which filled your head with the wrong picture. First misconception: the universe is expanding, so it must be expanding into something. No. Think about bread dough rising in the oven. As the dough expands, the distance between every single grain of flour gets bigger. The dough doesn't need to expand into a direction, it's getting bigger everywhere, all at once, from within. That's exactly how cosmic expansion works. It's not pushing outward into something. The distance between every single point in space is stretching at the same time. There's no outside to catch the extra space from the expansion, because space isn't pouring in from somewhere else. Space is growing, from within itself. It's like a piece of fabric with its weave getting looser and looser, but the fabric doesn't need to have an edge, because it might not have one at all. Second misconception: since the universe is 13.8 billion years old, its size must be 13.8 billion light-years across. Not even close. The radius of the observable universe is about 46.5 billion light-years. Why? Because the expansion of space itself can happen faster than the speed of light. Pay attention here, it's not that objects are flying through space faster than light. It's that more space is being created. This doesn't break Einstein's theory of relativity, because relativity only sets a speed limit for matter moving through space. It doesn't set any rules for how fast space itself can grow. Think of it like running on a treadmill. How fast you can run is up to you. But how fast the treadmill's belt is moving backward, that's out of your control. The expansion of the universe is that treadmill belt. It's pushing the edge of what you can see further and further away, faster than light can travel. So that 46.5 billion light years we talk about? That's just the range where we can pick up signals from. It's not the actual size of the universe. As for how big the real universe is, no one knows. It could be trillions of times bigger than the part we can see. Or it could be infinite. Third misconception. Even if we can't figure it out, there has to be something out there, even if it's just total blackness. This is the most dangerous misconception of all, because even total blackness is something. It's still space. When you say there's nothing outside, you're still picturing a dark, 3D empty space. But what we're telling you is that even 3D space doesn't exist there. Try closing your eyes and imagining no space. Not blackness, not an empty room. Not even nothingness as you know it. You can't do it. Because your brain is hardwired to think in terms of space. Asking something born inside of space to imagine a world without space is like asking a song to imagine a world without time. A song only exists because time unfolds. Take away time, and the song doesn't exist. Take away space, and your ability to think about it doesn't exist either. Now that we've broken down those three misconceptions, here's the core point of this whole video. It's not that the universe has an edge, so we ask what's outside of it. It's the exact opposite. Because humans are hardwired to understand everything as a container, we made up this entire idea of outside the universe out of thin air. In other words, it's not that the universe is missing an answer. It's that we humans made up an extra question. There's a term in cognitive science called a category mistake. That's when you take logic that applies to one type of thing, and apply it to something it never should. Asking what color is happiness is grammatically correct, but it's logically nonsense. Outside the universe is almost certainly the same thing. The grammar works. The logic doesn't. It's like booting up a single-player video game, walking to the edge of the game map, and asking what's outside the map. The answer isn't a wasteland or another world. The answer is that it's not rendered. It doesn't exist within the game's code. It's not that there's nothing there. It's that the very idea of existence stops there. Here's an example everyone has lived through. You've had a dream before, right? In the dream, you're walking around a city, and it feels totally real. Have you ever tried walking to the edge of that city in your dream, to see what's outside? No. Because the city in your dream is only being rendered by your brain on the fly. It only renders what you're looking at. The parts you don't walk toward? They don't exist at all. They aren't sitting there waiting for you. They just aren't there. The universe most likely works the exact same way. It's not that there's something outside that we just haven't seen yet. It's that the very concept of outside isn't even on the menu. It's a temporary limit of our understanding, we just don't have the right tools to wrap our heads around it yet. It's like trying to measure the width of the Pacific Ocean with a 6-inch ruler. It's not that the Pacific has a problem. It's that your ruler is too short. But here's a bone-chilling comparison for the long run. 100 years ago, every single physicist on the planet was convinced the universe was static, eternal, and unchanging. It had always been this size, and it always would be. When Albert Einstein derived the equations for general relativity, the math was literally screaming at him that the universe wasn't static. But he forced in a cosmological constant just to make it fit his static universe idea, because he couldn't believe what his own math was telling him. Then Edwin Hubble looked through his telescope and saw redshift, proof that the universe is expanding. Einstein later said that cosmological constant was the biggest blunder of his life. You see? Even the smartest human mind in history can be fooled by the idea that the world has to work the way I think it does. Georges Lemaitre, a Belgian priest who started out as a high school teacher, was the first person to propose that the universe had a beginning. He was mocked and ridiculed by the entire mainstream physics community at the time. But he was right. An outsider, rejected by the establishment, rewrote humanity's entire understanding of the universe. Meanwhile, all those mainstream experts who thought we know enough, stop asking questions, ended up with egg on their faces in front of history. Here's an even crazier fun fact. The 2022 Nobel Prize in Physics was awarded to 3 scientists who studied quantum entanglement. They proved that the connection between 2 entangled particles isn't limited by the distance of space between them. In plain English, on a quantum level, the difference between here and there might not be nearly as real as you think it is. Space itself might not be a fundamental property of the universe. It might just be an illusion that emerges from something deeper. It's like temperature. Temperature isn't a property of a single molecule. It's the feeling that emerges when billions of molecules are bouncing around together. If space itself is an illusion, then the space outside the universe is just something we made up out of nothing. At this point, I need to say something that's not exactly sugar-coated. Your framework for understanding the world either advances or it doesn't. There's no good enough when it comes to this. You might think, who cares what's outside the universe, it doesn't affect my life, and that's exactly what people thought 100 years ago when they heard the universe is expanding. Then one day, quantum computing becomes mainstream, gravitational wave detectors get upgraded, and some lab finds a data point at 3 a.m. that breaks every single law of physics we have right now. When that day comes, the people who understand this stuff, and the people who don't, will be split into 2 completely different worlds. There's no, I'll figure it out then. By then, you won't even be able to understand the question. I get it. Thinking about things with no definite answer is torture. You're used to a world with standard answers. Tests have answer keys, Google has answers, even AI chatbots have answers. When someone tells you this question might never have an answer, your brain will instinctively get frustrated, push back, and want to tune it out. That discomfort is normal. All truly important thinking makes you uncomfortable. But just remember this, you don't have to find the answer. You just have to keep the ability to ask the question. Of course, if you think thinking about this is useless, and you'd rather focus on making more money and being practical, that's totally fine. Everyone has their own lane. But if tonight, after you get out of the shower and dry your hair, a random thought pops into your head, wait a second. If space itself is an illusion, what exactly am I standing on? Then you get it. It means you've started. Alright, class dismissed.